Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with a massive, mammoth reveal for the Ahsoka show in the regards of from Dave Filoni and what the rest of the cast of the Ahsoka show have had to say here about, for one, season 1 of the Ahsoka show, but also a possible potential season 2 of the show. Also discussing the likes of Darth Vader, Baylon, Skoll, and everything else going on with a galaxy far, far away in this interview yet alone. Now that the SAG-AFTRA strike for actors is now over, they're able to discuss and talk about it. So there's been a lot of news coming out here, and that's exactly what we're continuing on doing here in this part 2 interview video for Ahsoka. You guys can check out our first video, our part 1 to this overall article from StarWarsNewsNet.com here on the channel. I'll have it linked in the comment section down below. So really just picking it right off, from where we left off in that last video, the article reads that unsurprisingly, Dave Filoni also prefers to leave it open to interpretation into the regards of Hayden Christensen's return and reveal as Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka show's episode 5 with the World Between Worlds. Now Hayden Christensen, to a little bit of a recap there, had kind of gone in to explain and kind of mention like what was going on there. Was that actually Anakin Skywalker as a Force ghost? Was it just a figment of, Ahsoka's imagination? And it's something that he chose himself just not to really touch on or really, give it a direct answer, and left it rather much more vague than one maybe would want, actually. Really just into the regards of, was Anakin supposed to be an actual Force ghost, or was he, supposed to be the actual Anakin, or what was going on with that? And, unsurprisingly, Dave Filoni gave us that same kind of answer, leaving it up to the interpretation and giving us that vague answer for the fans, stating that he's reluctant to actually touch Anakin's post Return of the Jedi, so not to really spoil George Lucas's story and his legacy and his intentions for the character of Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. However, he does mention that perhaps Anakin has always been looking out for Ahsoka since his death in Return of the Jedi, but perhaps she was unable to see him while her mind was clouded with doubt and, just other things going on that we see throughout the Ahsoka show. He says that from Dave Filoni himself, in quote, "My feeling about Anakin is that George resolved everything about Anakin. I don't think I have anything to do there or would want to. I'm not trying to add anything to that. Everything Anakin's involved with is about her, Ahsoka. It's about her point of view on Anakin. It's about what Anakin taught her. He's there to more of an Obi-Wan role that we saw in the older movies. Anakin, of course, he's just there with her. He's always been there with her, but she just, couldn't see it. She couldn't feel it. She didn't know. She had isolated herself and made herself alone because that she was afraid. Anakin has done a great deal to alleviate that fear to Ahsoka, and so there's that moment. I think that he's proud of her in the end. He sees that Ahsoka is going to be a better mentor than he was. I debate Force Ghosts with people all the time. To me, what they are mainly is inspiration. You have people in your life that I'm sure have inspired you, and you feel that all the time. You feel that when you need it. Ending that quote right there. As I had mentioned, a behemoth of an answer going on here, now that they're able to finally discuss and talk about everything that's going on with this, and really talking about the Ahsoka show specifically, into the regards of Anakin there, Dave Filoni mentions that Anakin in the Ahsoka show is really just that role of what Obi-Wan Kenobi was during the original trilogy. He just was kind of that mentor, that kind of figure that just kind of came and went when our heroes needed them most. And he also compares that into real life, of course, there as well towards the end of this overall interview, all at the same time while paying respects to George Lucas and his legacy of the Star Wars franchise, saying that it's not really my territory to touch on this either. Same kind of answer, leaving it vague and up into the fans' interpretation, like Hayden Christensen had done the same there as well. Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who plays Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka series, also spoke a little bit about Anakin's final appearance in the season finale and her excitement at sharing the stage with one of Star Wars' legacy characters. She says that, in a quote, "I was geeking out of that scene. We were on a stage outside, was not the volume for that scene. We shot it basically exactly how it is. He was standing there, for real. It makes me feel even more epic to bring those original characters into the fold of our story." Ending that quote right there. She also spoke about how Darth Vader's legacy affected Sabine's relationship with Ahsoka herself. She says that, in quote, "But the line of descendants is full of non-traditional Jedi, and then Jedis who have turned, so it's not necessarily a very steady, solid line to be trusted. Part of that reason Ahsoka originally had issues trusting Sabine was because I reminded her so much of her master in some ways, in terms of the internal struggle I was going through." I mean, that quote right there. Boom, there you have it. Natasha, like, lays it out right there for us, like, essentially everything that's wrong with the Skywalker saga, I think, to that point of, like, why would I want to be trained from, you know, this kind of lineage of Jedi who have, like, all of these issues, following all the way back to what we see with Count Dooku training Qui-Gon Jinn. You know, you see Count Dooku, he turned to the dark side, and Qui-Gon Jinn kicks the bucket. Obi-Wan Kenobi trains the Chosen One, who falls to the dark side and ruins the galaxy. The Chosen One trains Ahsoka, who's doing pretty alright, fairly. You know, and there's that trust that of, like, well, you know, am I gonna fall to crap and, like, you know, ruin the galaxy, and am I gonna fall to the dark side? That kind of scenario is kind of brought up there, and that's something I really love, and it kind of just lays it right out there for, like, everything going on between Ahsoka and Sabine's characters, and this whole master-Padawan relationship that we see in and out of this overall show here. And it's something I wish that they would expand on a little bit more on with, but I think that we all do get the idea that Ahsoka was training Sabine as her own Padawan. Now, continuing on, Dave Filoni spoke about the surprising decision to put Ezra and Thrawn in a totally different galaxy. Let's talk a little bit about that. Most of all, he wanted to be, you know, believable that they were actually somewhere that they really couldn't be contacted by the conventional means, but Attack of the Clones was also a source of inspiration. Dave Filoni says that, in quote, "If they were in the Star Wars galaxy, the one that we, you know, love and know, the old Star Wars galaxy, I think somebody would have found them by then. There's too many starships, there's just too many people traveling. You get a signal out, and I think you could have found them if they wanted to be found. I had to really throw them far afield." I think it's in Attack of the Clones, Episode 2. If you look, there's an image of the galaxy, and then there's actually these smaller galaxies near it. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Ending that quote right there, kind of just figuring the idea that that's kind of written in the Star Wars rules, that, like, you're allowed to bring in other galaxies, because that was George Lucas's, you know, overall idea and intention of what the Star Wars franchise is. And Dave Filoni is very respectful and, you know, cautious of that, and very notable of that at the same time as well, knowledgeable that, you know, like, that line that he's able to cross. Now, we discussed and unpacked a lot here in this part 2 video for the Ahsoka show, and to those regards, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this overall article in a part 3 video here on the channel shortly. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't already, guys. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. In the part 3 final video, we'll be discussing more about what they had to say into the regards of an Ahsoka Season 2, and also touching on the late Ray Stevenson's role as Baylon Skoll. So stay tuned and on the lookout for that by hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't already. We're also discussing and covering all types of other Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and join us here today on the channel. Of course, please let me know all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comment section down below, guys. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.